And Gabby Williams were slow to get up after a collision underneath the basket. Here's what happened.
Oh, that is a major collision for the two of them. They both knock heads. It took them both some time to get to their feet.
It started with a sound that made an entire arena go silent, a sickening collision that should have ended a player's night, but instead exposed the Indiana Fever's secret weapon, a force more powerful than any single superstar. One act of impossible toughness revealed that this team was far more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined, and it all happened on a night that wasn't even supposed to be about them.
Woo! First home game, got a dub, let's get it.
Big dub. Let's go.
Fever dub, Woo! Dubs. It's giving sweet.
The night was a carefully crafted tribute to Caitlin Clark's global stardom. Her new Nike logo was everywhere, turning Gainbridge Fieldhouse into a festival of her brand. But behind the marketing, the team set to take the court was a skeleton crew on the verge of total collapse. Clark was sidelined with a groin injury, and she wasn't alone. Sophie Cunningham, Ari McDonald, and Sydney Colson were all out with season-ending injuries, while Chloe Bibby was still nursing a knee. The Fever were missing half their guards, a ghost team walking into a must-win game.
AB's been the one that's been most affected by all of our injuries. You know, all of the point guards that know how to get her the ball and how they get it to her. And it's not just getting her the ball, it's where you get it to her. You know, getting it to her on time, on target, you know, thinking one pass ahead, you know, all that matters. And I thought today, her aggressiveness with the ball in her hands to the rim, getting into defenders, playing low to high instead of high to low. When she plays like that, you know, there's nobody that can stop her. And, you know, she set the tone for us, really on both ends. You know, she had the NECA assignment as well and set the tone for us on both ends. And, you know, she was terrific.
The stakes couldn't have been higher. A devastating 4-game slump had the Fever clinging to the last playoff spot by a thread. They were facing the Seattle Storm, the team directly ahead of them in the standings, a rival ready to deliver the final blow and push Indiana out of the picture for good. Every possession felt heavy with the weight of a season hanging in the balance, a season that was rapidly slipping away.
Aaliyah, this is a string of games, beginning of a string of games against the teams you're competing for a playoff spot against. Did this game feel more important in that regard? And I guess how big was it to get a win in this one?
Yeah, I mean, going into this game, we talked about that this was going to be a big game for us, considering the standings where Seattle was. But, you know, going into the West Coast trip, I mean, right now we're just going to be focused on LA. That's kind of been our motto this entire season, is just focus on the game ahead of you, be where your feet are. And so starting tomorrow, we're going to be looking at LA. But, I mean, this next string of games definitely important for us, but we got to take it one game at a time.
The atmosphere was almost surreal. Fans lined up for selfies with Clark's logo, wearing promotional shirts, and celebrating a superstar who was stuck watching from the sidelines in street clothes. This bizarre spectacle created an unspoken pressure, a constant reminder to the remaining players of the massive, almost impossible void they were being asked to fill. The night was about Clark, but the fight belonged to them.
It's special. I mean, you know, there's very few people who get the opportunity to say that they have a logo and to make the impact that she makes, not just, I think, in the sport, but globally, just by being who she is. She's a connector. She brings people together. And, you know, I think for us to be a part of that, and whether it's, you know, as simple as being able to celebrate all of these things with her, or, you know, as much as walking out into the arena and seeing the whiteout on the chairs out there, it's really cool, and it's really special and shoot, I'm talking about it right now, and just feeling the intense gratitude for me personally, being in women's basketball, to be able to be a part of this moment, and to celebrate with her.
With their star shooter and half their guards gone, the Fever were forced to abandon their usual game plan. They had to adopt a gritty, ugly style of basketball, a bruising inside game that relied on pure physicality and will. Against a veteran team like Seattle, it was a strategy that nobody on the outside truly believed could work. It felt less like a plan for victory and more like a desperate attempt to just survive the night.
And Gabby Williams were slow to get up after a collision underneath the basket. Here's what happened.
Oh, that is a major collision for the two of them. They both knock heads. It took them both some time to get to their feet.
But instead of folding under the pressure, the team took the court with a different kind of energy. It wasn't loud or flashy, it was a quiet, simmering defiance. You could see it in their defensive rotations, in the way they boxed out, in the hard screens they set. A subtle toughness began to ripple through the arena, but that newfound resolve was about to be put to the ultimate, most brutal test.
Happened on that play?
Well, I didn't know exactly what happened when it happened. It was kind of just like a clash. But looking at the video, it just, Gabby and I ran into each other. Unlucky. I think we both have knots on our heads, so we both kept playing, so it's all right.
Were you pretty dazed when you...
Yeah, I think it's more of like what just happened, big collision. I just need some time. Felt my face, felt a growing knot, so that doesn't feel good.
Then came the moment. In the first quarter, a loose ball bounced under the basket. Lexie Hull and Seattle's Gabby Williams dove for it at the same time, and the sickening crack of their heads smashing together echoed through the arena. Both players crumpled to the floor in a heap, and for a terrifying moment, the Fever's fragile season seemed to shatter right there on the court.
Storm basketball. The Universidades Kelsey Mitchell, Lexie Hull, sinking to the floor.
Williams eventually got up and stayed on the bench, but Hull was escorted straight to the locker room, clutching her head. As the camera zoomed in, you could see her forehead visibly swelling in real time. A grim acceptance settled over the crowd and the broadcast. This was the breaking point. With so many players already out, losing their toughest defender felt like the final fatal blow. Fans and analysts alike wrote her off for the night.
Getting back on the bench, was everybody just kind of staring at your forehead directly? And...
I knew, everyone's like, you look beautiful. I'm like, I know I look insane. But it honestly looks better now than it did when it first happened, so hopefully this goes down quick.
Did you glance up at the video board to see it? Did you get a look at it?
No, I could see it looking out. I could see it just from my own eyes. So I didn't need to look anywhere. I knew it was going to be big.
No way. So it's in your peripheral vision?
Yes. It was literally sticking out. I mean, it's still big right here, but it was bigger and I could see it. So they brought it down a little.
Your teammates, your coach, the GM, everybody's just kind of talking about your toughness, I guess. So there's not really a good way to ask that question, but if you could just talk to me about that toughness and where that comes from.
I mean, if I can play, if I feel like I can play, I can play, whether or not I look good or not isn't the problem. So, I think for me, it's just the team is the most important thing, getting wins the most important thing, and if I can contribute in any way I can, that's what I'm going to do. So if it's playing a little injured, playing a little hurt, that is what it is.
Awesome.
But then, the impossible happened. Minutes later, Hull emerged from the tunnel and checked back into the game. The knot on her head was undeniable, a giant, ugly bump that would have sent anyone else home. But the look in her eyes was even more powerful. It was pure, unyielding fire. What she did next would change the entire game and redefine her team.
Lexie Hull gets hit in the head there at the beginning of the game, comes back in. If you could just speak to her toughness and what it meant seeing her fight through what sure was not very pleasant.
I feel like Lexie's the definition of tough.
Yes.
I think when you just think of her as a player, the way that she hustles, she likes to get loose balls, extra offensive possessions. That's what she does. I mean, she got hit, she came back and just continued to contribute again, was a pest on defense, just making her presence felt, offensive rebounds, and that's just who Lexie is. So.
Her very first playback wasn't a cautious shot or a safe pass. It was a reckless, full-speed dive onto the hardwood for a loose ball, the exact same kind of play that had just sent her to the locker room. She threw her body onto the floor without a hint of hesitation. The crowd, silent just moments before, erupted in a standing ovation. It wasn't just a hustle play. It was an act of defiance that sent a shocking message to her teammates, the Storm, and everyone watching.
Yeah, I mean, that was disgusting. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I mean, it's who she is. She's just a tough young woman who battles every possession, and you can never tell if Lexie does, if she's hurt, if she's injured, if she goes down, if she gets back up. She just always has the same expression, and she just plays her butt off. And I'm thankful that it wasn't worse, and thankful that she was able to come back. But she really kind of epitomizes the toughness and the grit of this team.
After the game, Aaliyah Boston's words about Hull weren't just generic praise. They felt like the christening of a new team identity. She called Hull the definition of tough, and in that moment, she gave a name to the spirit that had taken over the team. It was no longer a group trying to survive without their star. It was a team that had found its own source of strength in pure, raw courage.
Bouncing. Boston can't finish inside, but able to tap it back out. Hull tracks it down and steps into a three and connects. I know.
Head coach Stephanie White's assessment was even more chilling. She called the hit disgusting, a word that captured the violence of the collision. But when she described Hull's response, she used a single, powerful word that perfectly captured the team's new spirit: unshakable. She said Hull never shows if she's hurt, she just gets up and competes. And that's exactly what she did.
And good hands there by Aaliyah. Boston just wrestles it away from Agumake, and here is Mitchell.
Usually you'd have a 2-for-1 right here if you had Caitlin Clark on the floor, but without Caitlin Clark, you really need to get a good look.
They do get a good look, and it's Boston to Mitchell. Here is Boston going at the rookie. Boston using her strength to get to the rim.
That 1-4 dribble puts the shot blocker inside the cylinder of the rim.
But Hull's impact wasn't just emotional or symbolic. When you looked past the bruise and the grit, the box score revealed a hidden, stunning truth. She finished the game with 9 rebounds and a team-best, mind-boggling plus-minus of +31. The numbers proved she wasn't just an inspiration, she was the secret key to their absolute dominance on the floor.
It's just a really good job. That's what I'm talking about. An extra dribble to get Malanga inside the cylinder of the rim.
It's been a strong start to the third quarter here for Indiana. An 11-point lead has grown to 16, and Boston adding to it, and one and a foul.
Screen and roll, and a good seal. I say this.
Fueled by that raw, infectious energy, Aaliyah Boston went to work. She transformed into an unstoppable force, a beast in the paint that brutalized Seattle's front court on every single possession. She scored 27 points and grabbed 9 rebounds, using her body to carve out space and finish through contact. The Storm threw double teams at her, but it didn't matter. Boston was on a mission.
Aaliyah Boston and Ezzie Magmagor in the center jump circle. We are underway from Indianapolis. Odyssey Sims tracks down the jump ball and lays it in. Here is Sims, one of those newcomers, slicing through the defense and gets to the rim.
I love the vertical game of the Fever right now.
In this building, 2007, finished third all-time points scored. IHSA basketball history on the girls' side as Odyssey Sims knocks down a 3.
The war in the paint was a complete massacre. The final rebounding numbers told a story of pure annihilation. Indiana 42, Seattle 21. It was a margin so wide it looked like a typo. This wasn't just outplaying an opponent, it was a physical dismantling of their will to fight, with Boston leading the charge and snatching every board in sight.
As Agumake gets it to go. Mitchell, quick trigger, and hits.
Unguardable. No one can guard. Sykes doing a good job of stuffing that backdoor cut, but it just sets up the screen and roll. It's all Kelsey Mitchell. The subtle things, the amount of attention.
And just when Seattle desperately tried to claw their way back, an unlikely hero delivered the final soul-crushing dagger. Odyssey Sims, a guard signed late in the season, pulled up from the center court logo and launched a 3-pointer, so audacious it felt like a declaration of war. The ball dropped perfectly through the net, and the arena exploded. That one shot broke Seattle's spirit for good.
Okay, really great stuff. That's the most complete game we put together in a long time. We made more free throws than they attempted. Yo, hey, that is a difference maker for us, and that will be a difference maker for us. 22 assists on 36 made field goals. Total team effort.
AB, 1,000th career rebound. Fastest player in Fever history to do so.
Things like these.
And Kel set a new franchise record for most points in a single season.
All the while, the veteran Kelsey Mitchell provided the steady, silent hand that held it all together. She poured in 21 points, hitting timely shots that stretched Seattle's defense and ensured they couldn't just collapse on Boston. Mitchell's consistent scoring was the critical balance that turned a tough team into a complete one, stretching a defense that was already being torn apart from the inside.
I don't have any specifics on it. I think right now it's day to day. She's progressed in her rehab, and anticipate by hopefully, what is today? What day is today? Tuesday. By hopefully end of the week, she'll be on the floor, at least in practice.
What have you been missing without her? You know, I was talking to her recently about what she brought to you guys, but what do you feel like you've lacked when she is absent from these games?
The ability to spread the floor for AB. I mean, really to have another person that can knock down a shot and we can create some space for AB to go to work on the interior.
The final score was a 95-75 blowout victory. It secured a 3-0 season sweep over the Storm and vaulted the Fever back into the 6th seed. But it was more than a win. It was a statement. On a night designed to celebrate one superstar's brand, the game sent a chilling message to the rest of the WNBA. This team's identity is no longer tied to just one player.
Just curious on a big picture, was Caitlin able to go through your little walkthrough or whatever you normally do? And what do you want to see ultimately to get comfort whenever the time comes?
Yeah, she went through our walkthrough yesterday. Today it was very short, prior to game time, but she went through it yesterday, and I want to see her in practice, live in practice. I want to see her continue to work to not just build endurance, but to be able to handle contact 94 feet as it's going to be in game, and to be able to do that and sustain from an endurance standpoint. And that's going to take multiple practices to make sure that there's no regression. And as most of us know, when we get fatigued, we look different, and see how she plays through fatigue.
But just as the victory celebration began, a different kind of news broke, a rumor that sent a new shockwave through the league. Caitlin Clark was spotted back on the practice court for the first time in over a month, sparking a firestorm of speculation about her return. After 16 grueling games watching from the sideline, the sight of Clark in a practice uniform felt monumental. Her absence had been one of the longest of her entire career, and seeing her moving with her teammates again was a signal that the final, most dangerous piece of this terrifying puzzle was about to come back into play. Coach Stephanie White quickly laid out the final hurdle. Clark had to survive full contact practices. It wasn't about shooting drills anymore, it was about her body holding up to the grind of live game action. With only 6 games left in the regular season, the clock was ticking, and the pressure was mounting for her to prove she was ready. And now a team that just discovered its own brutal, unshakable identity is waiting for its generational superstar to return. They proved they can dominate without her. They proved their toughness is real. The question is no longer if the Indiana Fever can make the playoffs, but how much damage they're going to do when they are finally whole again.